I'm going to call to order our June 23rd Sherburne County Board meeting. And at this moment, if you could please rise for a moment of silence and the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, at this time, I'd be looking for a motion to approve our regular agenda if there are no additions.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Felber,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hulls. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item number 2 on our agenda is the county proclamation and recognition of celebrating America's semi-quincentennial 250th birthday. And Bruce, are you going to read this for us, please?
Sure can. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. Just a quick introduction to this item. As you know, America is coming up on its 250th birthday celebration. The county will be actively participating in that. Just a couple of things. In addition to the proclamation, we will be having a lobby display to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration. In addition, there will be activities at the Sherburne History Center. And then we are going to be receiving a commemorative flag. It's the Betsy Ross flag. And so with the board's permission, what I'll be doing is taking down, we are allowed to take down the state flag for a commemorative flag, and we'll be flying the Betsy Ross flag for the entire week during the celebration. And so those are a couple of things that we'll be doing. In addition, we may have a few other activities that we'll be piggybacking on.
Perfect.
So with that, I'll read the resolution or the proclamation. So it's a proclamation commemorating the 250th anniversary, or what's called the semi-quincentennial of the founding of the United States of America. Whereas July 4th, 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence by the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia in 1776, signifying the founding of the United States of America. Whereas the Declaration of Independence proclaimed timeless principles of profound significance to the national heritage of the United States, including that all are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. And whereas the founding of the United States established the principle of federalism, emphasizing decentralized systems of governments wherein powers are divided between national and state governments, fostering liberty, accountability, and responsiveness to local communities. And whereas this decentralized governance model has allowed for innovation, diverse policy approaches, and stronger accountability to the citizens of each state, ensuring that government remains close to and reflective of the people's will. And whereas the founding of the United States initiated a journey towards forming a more perfect union, marked by historic achievements, struggles, and progress in realizing the nation's founding ideals for all its citizens. And whereas this semi-quincentennial offers a unique opportunity for the people of the state of Minnesota to reflect on our shared history, honor the diverse contributions of all Americans, celebrate our heritage of liberty, and look forward to the future we strive to create for subsequent generations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Sherburne County Board of Commissioners does hereby recognize and commemorate the upcoming 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States of America on July 4th, 2026, by proclaiming June 29th through July 4th as Celebrate America Week.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'd be looking for a motion to accept that proclamation as read.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Felber,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Hulls. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. All right, at this time, we are going to have our 2026 legislative recap and 2027 legislative outlook. If I could please ask our representatives to come forward. We have a table set up with mics.
I don't want to give you that long.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Coffee or water?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Coffee or
Thank
water?
you very much.
All right.
I came prepared.
I already did. Okay, fine. Twist my arm. We got one more coming here.
All right, at this time, I would like to welcome Senator Matthews, Representative Meekland, and Representative Lawrence. Oh, and then we have Senator Lucero. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come in and give us a recap on the 2026 legislative session and what your crystal ball thoughts are on what the 2027 is going to be about. So, at this time, I guess I have a couple of questions. Would you be willing to share your overall thoughts on the recently completed session and what the outcome means for the state, your district, and Sherburne County? And I guess I can start with who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, good, thank you.
So I'll talk at once, I guess. Whenever are we this quiet? What's going on here? So as far as how this year went in relation to the state, that's a much broader question. But as far as the county goes, we had many initiatives the county wanted, which was the local option sales tax was one that did not make it across the line. Chair Gomez was adamant that she wasn't going to allow any of those to happen. I believe two of you were at that meeting. The money for, which was obviously for the jail here, she didn't like those, and we knew that they don't particularly care for the Sherburne County Jail to begin with, but and she didn't disappoint in that regard. The funding that was being sought for the Highway 10 and County Road 11 project did not either get included in the capital investment. However, nor did Becker's money that they wanted for their water treatment. But Big Lake did get theirs, which was a huge move to a very good direction that was much needed. Aside from that, the rest of it, there was a lot of bipartisan work done that was quite interesting. For the first time ever, Senator Lucero and I managed to get past a rather significant bill on HOA reform. It was much needed, which has now is coming out massively, and people reaching out. They now have learned that this passed, and they are reaching out because they're having different challenges with their HOAs. I think I have 4 of them just in the last week that have been significant issues to deal with. So that was like a very monumental piece. It was kind of a sleeper bill, what I thought going into it, which turned out to be a significant response from many, many people across the state. And one thing I found really interesting, anytime there's a controversial bill of any sort, I don't care which side you're standing on, you get a lot of emails. This one, what was so interesting about it was all the handwritten snail mail. And I have a stack of it in my office because I found it so interesting that people were taking the time to handwrite letters, which normally you just get emails or whatever, or phone calls. But this was such a passionate issue of so many people. And one thing we found, because we got AARP and AMAC, the conservative version of AARP, both to get behind this because it's sweeping across the nation. Florida passed it, Georgia just passed it, very similar bills, and because these things have run completely out of control on many, many cases. There's really good ones out there. I've talked to Administrator Messler about this. He loves his HOA board, but there are some that have gone completely off the rails. So that's, from my perspective, kind of a little nutshell of what all went on down there this year. So we will see what's going to happen next year, but we will certainly be taking our bite at the apple for county stuff and capital investment, but as well as an additional HOA follow-up bill.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'd echo a lot of what Representative Mecklen said for how the overall session went, some of the projects that we were fighting for that didn't quite make it this year, that did get across the finish line this year, and what we'll try to do going ahead. The only other two things that I'll add that has county significance is, first of all, in the energy space, we were able to get across some version of a nuclear energy study, which I know this board supported. Some of you came and testified in favor of that legislation as it was moving through the process. It wasn't exactly the language it wasn't 100% of the language I wanted to see at the end. There was a lot of moving pieces that came at the end, and there were folks in the other party that came in with a list of things that they wanted to see, so there ended up being some last minute compromise to what the verbiage and the language was. But I'm grateful that there will be a study that I believe is gonna get underway from the Department of Commerce very soon, and with a goal of being ready to provide their findings to the legislature by the time they get into session next year. So I think that's a good thing with the impact in energy that Sherburne County has, Sherco and its future, and what might happen with the land in the next generation of our energy policy outlook. I think it's a good thing to have this in place and see if it can maybe be a first step towards lifting the nuclear moratorium and having that tool available if it is something that's cost effective and useful for our communities moving forward. Other thing that I will mention is since session ended, most of my constituent service work has been in this adult services providers issues with DHS. And I'll highlight again, I believe I'm allowed to talk about what we're doing tonight, if that's okay
Yes.
with you,
Yep.
Madam Chair.
Please
Yeah,
do.
we will, and I believe all four of us are planning to come tonight. We're gonna have a town hall at Options in Big Lake to talk about the impacts with the Department of Human Services and throttling down or sending closure letters for various reasons, including claiming that they didn't get recertified properly and all of these issues that are going on right now. These are impacting, I believe, many providers all around the state, and it's impacting Options and multiple others within the county and within my district here. And so we are trying to call attention to the state agencies need to get their act together, and they need to fix this problem before causing harm and causing legitimate providers to get shut down. So we're doing that tonight in Big Lake at the Options facility from 6 to 7. The public is invited, the media is invited. I don't quite know what to expect, but it does seem like it has caught on in a lot of different directions since Representative Mecklin and I announced this town hall. And we need to shine a light on it because the state needs to continue to crack down on the fraudulent providers and the people that have just set up shell businesses solely for the purpose of stealing your money. And they have to figure out how to differentiate between those people and groups like Options that have a long-standing history, a legitimate presence, and many clients that can be pointed to for the services that they provide. So that is what we are planning to do tonight, and hopefully can help make that successful in getting this uncertainty cleared up around the state.
I want to thank you for mentioning that. Anybody who thinks that our representatives take the summer off when sessions close, so not true. They are busy doing a ton of work that is consistently on the benefits of our taxpayers and our residents. So we appreciate that. Thank you. Because that is 200 clients roughly at Options, 50-some employees. That would be a huge disservice to the community that has disabilities. Throwing the baby out with the bathwater is not the answer. Thank you.
And I know
Would you
that,
want to say anything else?
I'm
You're
done.
good?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I know that several of us are going to be there because we did have it posted, and I did invite all of the commissioners from the surrounding counties to come. Now, if they didn't have time to post it, they may be limited to 1 or 2, but we should have a pretty good representation there tonight so we can figure out a common solution to this problem.
Yep, yep. Thank you. Senator Lazaro.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, county staff, and the great residents of Sherburne County. I am Eric Lucero. I appreciate the opportunity to come in this morning. I have the honor of serving on 3 committees in the Senate. I am on the Housing Committee, the K-12 Education Finance Committee, and the Elections Committee. And the communities that I represent, I have 8 communities. On the southern end of the district, which is District 30, it's Rockford Township, then Hanover, St. Michael, Albertville, Otsego, Elk River. So this is the portion of Sherburne County that I have the privilege of representing. And then into Anoka County, so Nowthen and Western Oak Grove. Spans 4 counties, and again, an honor to have a sliver of Sherburne County. So in the Senate, we have 4-year terms. And so we are coming to the end of the last 4 years that myself and Senator Matthews have served. Whereas in the House, they have 2-year terms. So much of the work, from my perspective, that we dealt with this year in this last legislative session, which ended in May, is, for the most part, the ramifications, the fallout, the consequences of terrible fiscal policy and other policy that was passed within that 4-year block, that 4-year term earlier in that block. Much of that terrible legislation was in 2023 and 2024. And for example, there was the license tab fee increase. If those who've had the disprivilege of renewing your license tabs, you likely have paid hundreds of dollars more. This is a direct consequence of legislation passed in 2023, but had an enactment date of 2026. So you're only feeling the pain now, but it's from actions that were taking place several years earlier. That's among the incredible amount of communications I've received, even during session and after session, on people frustrated on how much more they're paying as the ever-increasing cost of living is rising here in the state of Minnesota. In addition to that, there are other mandates that were passed that have direct consequences on county level and local units of government, including school districts. And those mandates have resulted in, they were unfunded by the state, they resulted in local units of government, such as county, having to raise levy, which has increased property taxes on both businesses and residents across the state of Minnesota. That's also, again, among the communications that I'm receiving. People are frustrated in being priced out of their house. In fact, I've received a number of communications of people, seniors that are on fixed incomes, for example, that may have owned their home for decades, that are being squeezed out without the ability to pay for their property taxes, which again is directly resulting from terrible, crippling mandates that were passed by a trifecta of Democrats in 2023 and 2024. And so many of the consequences, again, are being felt this year, and the legislative session dealt with trying to make some little tweaks, trying to make some language changes, again, but none of that is going to suffice to what's happening in the state of Minnesota as it increasingly becomes more expensive to live. In addition to the license tab fee increase and property tax fee, another of the dominating headlines has been fraud. Billions and billions and billions of dollars of fraud have taken place. And there was a bill, the Office of Inspector General, which passed the Senate last year. Now, it's not the be-all and end, the end-all and be-all of the fix, but it's a very good start. It passed the Senate last year for the Office of Inspector General to give some power to be independent and investigate state agencies that are involved or caught up in lax procedures, lax checks and balances that would prevent fraud proactively and hold them accountable transparently. That went over to the House last year, and the majority, or it was in the split House, 67 to 67, it takes 68 votes to pass anything. And with an exactly 67 to 67 makeup in the House, it requires at least one member from the other party to pass anything. That bill died because there was a refusal by the 67 Democrats in the House to pass that bill last year, Well, then you fast forward to this year, this legislative session, there were repeated attempts in committee and the floor to pass that, and it failed on a tie vote. But in the end, there was so much mounting pressure that the Democrats had to give in, and that was able to be passed, and it was signed into law by Governor Walz. So that is a victory, a small victory, but it is a victory that came out of this legislative session. And then finally, among the many things that happened, as Representative Meckland referenced, the Homeowners Association Reform Bill. And so that is the product of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours involving hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stakeholders that have a connection to the HOA industry and or residents and constituents giving their feedback, being active participants in work groups, in committees, and a multi-year process where, again, it is legislation that I had the privilege of chief authoring in the Senate last year, went over to the House. It wasn't able to get across the finish line last year, but came back this session through the significant work of Representative Mecklen and others. It was able to get across the finish line in the House, came back to the Senate. We took another vote, passed it, sent it on to the governor. That was signed into law. And among, it's many provisions that had to be brought up to date to equal out the balance of the scales between HOA boards, property management companies, and residents. Among the provisions that were included were limits on fines and fees. It gave an avenue for dispute resolution, and did many other things, again, that more equalized those scales. Ending conflicts of interest between boards, property management companies, potentially contractor firms, etc. And then another provision that is applicable to local units of government was in the state of Minnesota and across the country, as a matter of fact, more than 80% of new construction developments were in or are in HOAs. That is an absurd number and occurring naturally. What has been happening is local units of government have been saying to developers, as a developer approaches a local unit of government with a proposal, the local unit of government will say, well, we will only approve your development on the condition that you create amenities that necessitate the formation of an HOA. Meaning, we want you to have parks, but we as the city, we don't want to manage and maintain the park. We're going to force you to mow the grass and maintain the liability, insurance, etc. We want a clubhouse, we want there to be a pickleball court, etc. And we want to have a monument at the entrance to the developments. These are all amenities that necessitate the formation of an HOA. So the provision in the bill said that is no longer permissible. So local unit of government cannot require an amenity that would necessitate the formation of an HOA as a condition of approval. It's a huge victory and, again, a giant step towards one of the other dominating headlines we continue to see is housing affordability. Right now, the average age of a first-time home buyer is 40 years old. And that, again, is not an accident. It's a direct result of government overregulation. You may have seen another headline recently that approximately $120,000 is attributed to the cost of a new home from government regulation, mandates, and fees. That is an absurd number. With that, Madam Chair, members of the board, there's a lot to discuss, but that's a synopsis. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that update. Representative Lawrence.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, guests today and staff, what an honor to be before you today and in this room again. I've had a chance to serve in your seats, never as a county commissioner, but in many other boards that I had the privilege of serving on, and so grateful for those experiences as well. I do think it's important to put a shout out to your administrator who diligently and persistently sent us a request to come today and wound up getting all four of us here the same day. And I think that's a testament to his persistence of making sure that we show up. And so, well, everything counts, but thank you for the constant invitation. It means a lot, I think, to all of us to be invited into a place into your county to share what's going on with the session and everything. In addition to that, I get to serve the cities of Baldwin, Zimmerman, townships of Livonia, and Blue Hill, which are in Sherburne County. And those are the districts that I serve, which you guys represent as well. And so for our guests today, I want them to know something. In regards that your commissioners, everybody and who's watching online, your commissioners, as well as your administrator and staff, spend time at the Capitol, which I appreciate, I think my colleagues appreciate, coming down here, lobbying on behalf of the residents of Sherburne County, sharing the challenges that you're facing, the positive things that are happening out here, and the repercussions of the decisions we make in the state. And I, for one, appreciate the time that you invest at the Capitol during session, your administrator as well as your staff. It's greatly appreciated. And I think it's important that people know that you guys take the time to lobby on behalf of the county at the state Capitol.
Thank you, and we appreciate your open door to always be answering our phone calls, welcoming us in when we come down to advocate, as you all advocate for our constituents as well. So thank you so much for those efforts.
You're welcome.
So, number 2, Sherburne County only had a few specific legislative items in play this past session. Would you share with us your thoughts on these efforts, and only a few of which we saw success? Should I start? I'll start with you, Representative Lawrence.
I'd be happy to start. It kind of ties into what I ended with the last comment, is you guys spent a lot of time investing, letting us know what's important and what's needed in Sherburne County, where you are physically, the repercussions of the mandates that were passed a few years back, right? That you're feeling today and the residents are carrying the burden on today. And to be honest with you, I appreciate the information. I'm disappointed we weren't able to do more on behalf of Sherburne County and take more action. We couldn't find the consensus among the colleagues to move the policy ahead that would have more benefit for our county. The one thing I want to take a step back and think about, and as Representative Mecklen stated, is there's things we really wanted to do, with things that need to be done in our county, and we get to be a part of that, making them happen. But let's take a step back a few years, and I think, what did it take? Almost 15 years, 20 years to get the project in Zimmerman up and running, which is started. I drive through every day. They're doing an incredible job. They're racing ahead on it. But projects like that take time. It takes time to lay the groundwork, to bring the right players together, to put the funding together, and the different sources that the funding come together. And so, and I want to kind of relate that, because that's a project that took a long time in the process. And now today, none of you were here when that started, right? I don't think any of you were here when it started walking down that path. Bruce, I don't think you were here when it started walking down that path. And yet, we get to enjoy the fruits of somebody else's labor. We're in that position again as we look at new projects. I know on Highway 10 there's several, and the jail, as we're going down that road, we have to remember it's going to take some time to lay the groundwork and start the process and move those projects ahead. And in time, we may get to see the fruits of our labor, or another board may, or another representatives may, but we're going to walk down that path, and we're going to work on behalf of Sherburne County to get those things accomplished.
Thank you very much. Senator Lucero.
So I've had the honor of serving 12 years in the legislature. The first 8 years were in the House. These last 4 years have been in the Senate. It was early on in my tenure that Wright County brought us in, and the entire legislative priority session, I think it was an hour and a half or so, was dedicated to demonstrating firsthand the ridiculousness, the latency, the inefficiency of the DHS system for the different programs. And it's a monochrome system. It's, it's straight out of the 80s, and it is wildly, again, inefficient. It's time consuming, staff and otherwise, and it's costing counties incredible amount of money. That was among the priorities that Sherburne County and counties across the state had continued to advocate for. This last legislative session, there was a bill that's moving us in the direction. It's not going to solve it entirely, but it is, for those who are not familiar, there's 87 counties in the state, and the state of Minnesota has a series of systems or servers. At a 30,000 foot level, there are servers at the state level, and then there's terminals essentially at each of the counties that are operated, and they hook into the state system. So the entire system needs an upgrade. That is a massive effort. I think it's north of $1 billion is the estimated amount to do that in its entirety. And so the legislation passed this year was a first step in that effort. And it's going to be a multi-year effort to completely replace a system that allows for checks and balances, that allows for an easier finding of those criminal fraudsters who seek to scam Minnesotans by taking advantage of this weak, old, antiquated system. But that was among the victories. So that is something that did happen, and I'm proud. And I look forward to the coming years here to continuing to move that forward, again, to change that system out.
Yeah, and we appreciate the efforts that were done this year to start that path, and we know it's going to take a while because it is a lot of money. And I think people don't understand that that system, I think, was from the 80s. And if everybody remembers what technology looked like in the 80s on your computer screen, this is what we are dealing with at county levels to do the work of the system. And you are spot on. Updating that system can help find that fraud a whole lot faster than the system is designed to do right now. So we appreciate that.
Madam
Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
I mean, we do have,
Commissioner Halls.
we do have the latest update on that program. I think it's copyrighted 1993.
Yeah. So we appreciate you recognizing that this system has got to get updated, and we know it's going to cost a lot of money, but we keep hitting at it, and we'll get there. So thank you so much.
Senator Lucero was nice when he said monochrome. It's pre-mouse. It doesn't recognize a mouse, so.
All right, Senator Matthews.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, that issue specifically is one of many where I've had, especially the last year or so, had the thought around the legislature. Boy, this would have been a good problem to try to have tackled when we had an $18 billion surplus.
Amen.
And unfortunately, I believe a lot of that was wasted, and we don't have a whole lot to show for it because of what the leaders at the time decided to do with that. For Sherburne project specifically, yes, I too am glad about the Zimmerman project going through. That was a multi-year effort, and I give a lot of credit to the senator who served Zimmerman before me, was former Senator Michelle Benson, who I know did a lot of the lion's share of that work, trying to secure funding and capital investment proposals and all of that. And I just came in right at the end when the district switched around after the census, and I got the chance to represent Zimmerman and like take the last few steps across the finish line with it. And I'm glad to see that progress is being made there. I know Sherburne's got some other projects that are really, really needed, like the 10 and 11 project up in Becker. And so what I normally do with the bills for these projects is I try to be the chief author of all of them. And when I get into discussions with the bonding chair or the bonding lead as projects are going through, I said, well, my job is to fight for all my projects. Your job is to figure out making the decisions of which one gets in the final bill and which ones don't. And we had a bonding bill of, I forget what the number was, in the neighborhood of $1 billion. Billion two. And each year the state probably gets between $3 and $5 billion worth of bonding requests. So I often will tell local jurisdictions, especially ones that haven't been as familiar as you all are with how the process goes, is that often you just have to get a bill in and start advocating for it and like kind of get it on the radar. And it usually won't make the cut to get in the final bill the first year and maybe not the second year either. But as the other projects at the top of the pile get funded and get off the pipeline, as it were, hopefully ours gets to move up, and with repeated efforts at advocating for it and pitching it, hopefully it will be in a place where it can then get funded the next go around. So that's my hope, especially with the 10 and 11 project, because I will continue, we'll have a new session next year, all new bills. I will reintroduce all those same pieces of legislation for the projects that did not get done this last session, and we'll go at it again. And whether it's a 2027 bonding bill or if it doesn't happen till 28, I have no idea what will happen in that regard. I'll keep keep those projects on our radar and keep advocating for as many of them as we can. So, you know, for Senate District 27, the Big Lake project was a big win for getting funding for that, get that project started. And that's just the phase one of that project. And I told our city leaders there, like, here's then what the next steps will be when it comes time for going for a phase two or things in the future. And then in our district, St. Francis got a really needed road project as well, which is over in Anoka County. But it's, you know, I'll come and tell our chairs and such, here's the projects that I have, and hopefully one or this time several of them got selected and got included in the final bill.
Yeah, when you talk about how these are pretty much long games, when you talk about like the wastewater treatment plant money that Big Lake secured, these projects, when I was mayor, this was like about 9 years ago now, I was down asking for, secured $1 million to help with starting the process of getting it designed. And all that has happened in the meantime is the cost has gotten more expensive. So we appreciate your efforts in trying to help us offset those costs for my district and every other district that you represent as well, and every other community. These are big dollar expenses that communities face, and anything that can help offset those costs is very much appreciated on behalf of the taxpayers and the residents. So thank you. Representative Mecklen, your turn.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
You know, I want to point out, because I'm kind of surprised there's one person that's not sitting here with us, and that would be Representative Novotny. As many of you know, he was a Sherburne County deputy for many years, and that County Road 4 169 project, he has great stories of he carried specifically a broom and a dustpan to clean up all the glass as a deputy every time he had to pick up after an accident. So when he got elected in that special session back in 2020, I think it was, would that be right? 2019 or 2020, whatever it was.
That's about right, yeah.
It was 2020, that's when Zero was tapped out. But I remember putting signs up in sub-zero temperatures going, this is dumb. Because soft as our sand is, when it's frozen, it's hard. But he was a big advocate for that particular thing. And you know, some of these things, these projects, I remember back when we had the bonding dollars for the Becker Industrial Park, when there was talk about Google coming in. And that one actually kind of slipped through pretty quick, to be honest with you, in the grand scheme of things. But there was a project that same year when the district was different, because it included parts of Benton County. And Foley was in a wastewater issue, and they needed money they regionalized with the St. Cloud wastewater treatment center. Because the MPCA could deem their system non-compliant. And that was going forward, a much less expensive long-term way of going about it. But that's where these projects, it takes time, it does, but we eventually, you know, like Matthew said, that they slowly move up in priority because they can only kick them down so many years in a row. But that is a really big part of what we do down there, and that's where your advocacy comes into play. They have Commissioner Day at the Capitol, or you know, league, whatever it is, and amongst all the other things, you know, like this thing tonight, this town hall. This is going to be a pretty big thing. There's going to be there's a group home out of Sauk Rapids, but they take care of some Sherburne residents there, and this is their housing. This is their 24/7 care, and they have 4 of them, 19 clients. 35 employees that have been caught up in this whole hot mess. And there's a lot to this as to what's going on, which we don't understand. We do know there's about 800 whistleblowers from the Department of Health that have come forward anonymously, many of them. And they've been retaliated against, and it would seem almost that many of these people were the best ones that identified this, went to the administration, then were retaliated, and then moved so they can no longer see what's going on, the bad. And those are probably the very people that should be put back to get through all these legitimate providers to figure out, to get them up and running again, or authorize or revalidated is the dang term they're using. And ironically, the one thing we heard on this whole thing is they kept getting requests to fill out more paperwork and enter it into this portal until the very last one. They requested that every provider fax it in. which I didn't even know we use faxes anymore, but some reason that had never happened before, but every provider that I've talked to suddenly had to fax in their last ask of some paperwork. Find that to be kind of suspect and a little bit interesting. I also want to point out to all the folks sitting behind me, everybody saw their property taxes go up this year, and significantly in some counties. And that is not at the fault of any of these people. The vast majority of that, I mean, that whole raise was all the unfunded mandates that the Walz administration put through on the counties as well as the schools. They gave historic funding to schools, but it literally was, for every historic dollar, there was $2 of unfunded mandates, so they actually went backwards. You could talk to the superintendent, Becker or Big Lake, and they'll tell you the exact same story. The number one ask from Becker's school superintendent was, please do nothing. Don't do anything. Because they can't take any more increases in their costs. They cannot balance these budgets. They're cutting $3 million out of their budget in Becker, which the vast majority, all but $100,000, will be salaries of people that they're cutting. So, because we hear this constantly about all the counties raising their levy, the school needs a referendum. It is absolutely no fault of their own. I don't remember what the program is, and perhaps Mr. Messel can explain, remind me of the acronym. But this is costing the county so much money, and we fought tooth and nail to cut this thing. And by the way, this paid family medical leave nonsense, which we have been fighting tooth and nail as well, you know, the last 2 months, they stopped reporting on the approved applications because they are over 30% above expectation. So for the last 2 months, they just chose not to even report how many applications they've approved, because it's also riddled with fraud. So there you go. I have another meeting I have to get to, and I gotta get going.
Thank you so much for coming and taking time, and we'll see you tonight.
Very good.
All right. Next, I have a few questions in front of me, and I appreciate your patience and your willingness to answer them. The county unsuccessfully sought state bonding for a critical intersection improvement on US 1011. You did kind of point that out. Can we position ourselves better in the future to support this project? Is there something that we should come back with? I know a lot of it is getting it introduced the first time, getting people to understand there's a need and a concern here, and a major safety issue. Do you have any suggestions for us when we come back? Because this isn't going away.
So, Madam Chair, I am just gonna suggest that for the balance of the questions, perhaps we don't all answer
Okay.
every question just for sake
Yep.
of efficiency. But I'll let one of these two answer that question.
All right, thank you. Who wants to take it?
Since it's in my district, I guess I'll take it. Madam Chair, I can't think of a specific reason as for, a fault that happened in the process for it not getting included last time. If anything, I think it was the bonding leaders probably went through and thought, well, the Becker community has already been funded several times on other things in recent years, and let's try to spread it around a little more and do other communities that may not have had projects funded. That's probably the biggest thing that I can point to as a possibility, and I don't even know if that was a prevailing factor in their decisions or not. So I would say, I think, I know that you all lobby very effectively and you have a good team that you have helping you at the Capitol. So I expect that, doing what we're already planning to do next year will put us in the best position that we can to try to see if we can get that project above the cut line rather than below it as it comes through. So I'm gonna do what I can do. I will have it on my list and tell our chairs that it's gonna be one of my more important projects that are going around the district. And hopefully you'll have opportunities to come and lobby for it again as you do, and hopefully we can push for a better result.
All right, thank you. And for the sake of time, I do also want to say that these infrastructure projects, as we all know, are super important as we continue to grow out here in Sherburne County, and the traffic gets greater, the safety needs rise at these intersections, and to do intersection overpass to get rid of having to stop at that light and back the traffic up is a really, really needed improvement. And also, I'm going to lay the marker down. We're working on a bridge crossing. We need a new bridge crossing. We cannot continue to sustain the crossing through Monticello to be the only way to get across that river between Elk River and Clearwater. So that is something we've been working on for a long time, so stay tuned for more of that coming forward as well, and needing to find the money, both federally and hopefully state money as well. So that being said, unless there's anything else that anybody wants to ask, I think that we'll probably say thank you for coming, thank you for representing us, and all the hard work you do. We appreciate all of your efforts so much. So,
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, if I could
Yes.
just conclude with one remark.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to come in and speak about what's happening down at the state. One of the greatest privileges of this role is receiving feedback from constituents and hearing what's on their mind.
Absolutely.
I encourage anybody and everybody to reach out to me. The best way to get a hold of me is my email, which is sen.eric.lucero@mnsenate.gov. Thank you.
perfect, thank you. And we'll see you on the parade routes.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the next item on our agenda.
And then we'll see you tonight.
It's open forum, and I want to,
Rand,
yes,
we do a recognition real quick?
Oh, sure.
7.7, our staffers here, so I'm gonna do more like. Item 7.7.
okay. All right, sorry, we're going to do a little bit of adjustment on the calendar. We're going to go to item 7.7.
Want to sign up?
On the main agenda?
Yep, under regular agenda.
Okay.
So we, as you know, we're very excited about this. We don't get a lot of time to celebrate our snowplow drivers. But somebody gets to go to rodeo, so Andrew Witter's here to introduce him and talk a little bit about the great recognition.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the flexibility in the schedule. I know there's a lot of people that are looking to speak after me, so I'm going to be fairly brief in my comments, but we do need and are looking for approval from the county board this morning to authorize the out-of-state travel for Chad Hunt here, specifically to attend the National Rodeo Competition. So I know it feels a little weird. We're 2 days after the summer solstice and we're talking about snow plowing.
And Andrew, you better clarify, because people are really confused. Rodeo spelled?
R-O-D.
No,
R-O-A-D-E-O.
R-O-A-D-E-O. Road E-O.
Road EO. So looking for the county board to take action on that today. This is starting to become a fairly regular occurrence. I mean, we've got a great staff of plow drivers, and I will also say truck drivers, because they do drive essentially the same vehicles in the summertime for different operations and different skills. About 3 years ago, we had Kevin, who made it to the national competition as well. This year we have Chad, who's been invited to participate in the national competition. So in order to do that, you need to qualify at the state level. Typically that has been, or historically that has been up in the city of St. Cloud. Unfortunately, this has grown to such a level that they've now had to relocate it to the southern metro. But that being said, we still competed well. Chad did very well and is looking to not only represent Sherburne County, but the entire state in this competition as he travels out to Colorado in September of this year to participate in the national competition. National competition is a little bit different than the state one. State one's more individual. The national competition, he'll actually be teamed up with another individual from the state of Minnesota, and they function as a team out there as well. So I'm not going to make Chad say anything. I wanted him here so you could put a face with a name and tell him congratulations myself. And with that, I'll turn it over to the county board for any comments and then hopefully take positive action on the item.
All right, any questions? Okay, well, congratulations, Chad, on getting to the national level. We look forward to seeing what the results are of that competition. So at this time, I'd be looking for a motion to consider the approval of state travel for Chad Hunt to compete in the National Plow Driving Skills Competition.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hulls and a second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion?
Yeah, go get them.
All right. With that being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right, backing it up now to open forum. And at this time, I'm going to ask Administrator Messel to read the guidelines of open forum.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. The purpose of open forum section of the county board meeting agenda is to allow public input and/or information to be presented to the board that does not require action by the board or is not on the board agenda. It is requested that speakers refrain from personal attacks of any kind against another person, commissioner, or employee. It is requested that speakers refrain from campaign-style presentations. The time limit is 3 minutes per speaker, with a maximum of 5 speakers at open forum. The time limit may be shortened or extended at the discretion of the board chair. The open forum may be continued following the conclusion of the regular board business meeting agenda items. It is requested that all input or information be addressed to the Board of Commissioners as a whole, not to individual commissioners or to members of the audience. Speaker handouts are public information. The county may make copies of such handouts for the public if needed. The county board chair will ensure that the open forum policy is followed, and Keisha will keep a timer for the 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. And I have been told we have 8 people that are signed up. We will have 15 minutes due to the length of our agenda. So if you did want to maybe combine some of the comments, if they're going to be of the same nature, that might be a good idea. So Keisha, can you let me know who the first person is for the sign up?
Yes, Madam Chair. The first person we have for open forum is Dennis Letha, and also second is Rita Letha. They're both speaking on the rumble strips. Would you two like to combine your comments?
No.
If you could please go up to the podium, sir.
Podium? Thank you. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Dennis Letha, 5375 75th Avenue Southeast, St. Cloud, Minnesota, 56304.
Thank you.
I suffer from severe hypertension because I was in a battle April 1st, 1970 in Vietnam. And after 8 hours, I was the only armored vehicle to drive out. And only my crew was not wounded or killed. I have been wakened by the rumble strips in front of our house for the last 2 weeks, and it's driving me crazy. I would like you to take them out, and I would like you to put white paint or anything. People watch the road. People try to avoid your rumble strips. The biggest argument in talking with the state about having rumble strips is to save children's lives. There are 40 children, 20 to 40 killed in Minnesota a year, in the whole of Minnesota. If you're that concerned about children's lives, then today at your meeting, you should make a resolution to the state to ban abortion, because there's 10,000 more abortions in Minnesota because we allow it. And there's only 40 killed in car accidents, and yet you have rumble strips. They're nuts. In closing, you're celebrating 250 years. My family is celebrating 150 this weekend. And we have people from all over the nation coming to our houses, and they have to put up with this noise at night. It affects me more than most people because it's combat noise. As Haven Township was putting in the helicopters in St. Cloud, they did an evil thing and had a helicopter land at 2 a.m. in front and back of all town board members' houses, which was mine. Also, I was a town board member. I didn't go to the town board. I didn't go to the county. I went to the military. I knew they'd understand. They'd no longer ever fly helicopters over my house. I am almost deaf, but I hear everything that goes on that's related to combat. I would also ask that being my road was not done by design, my front lawn is 90% right away, and I can't mow it because it's a 60-degree slope instead of the promised 45-degree slope, and that's something you could do immediately. Thank you. I have to go to Des Moines now to pick up a float for that parade.
Thank you for your comments. Next.
Next is Rita Letha speaking on the same item.
May I defer my time to my daughter, Marcia?
Sure, thank you. She would still only get 3 minutes. We don't add time for that. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and
Good morning.
Commissioners. My name is Marcia Ritten, and I live at 7458 54th Street Southeast, immediately adjacent to the newly installed transverse rumble strips on County Road 20 near County Road 16 that were installed 14 days ago on Monday, June 8th. I want to begin by saying that I support traffic safety. I understand the county's responsibility to reduce accidents and protect the traveling public. However, the responsibility should also include protecting the health, peace, and quality of life of the residents who live beside these improvements. Since the rumble strips were installed on June 8th, my home has changed dramatically. Every day and every night, I hear the constant pounding of vehicles crossing all 5 rumble strips. This is not just an inconvenience, it has become a daily disruption to my life. I have documented being awakened multiple times nearly every night, sometimes 4 or 5 times between midnight and 5 in the morning. The interruptions have continued for weeks. Sleep deprivation affects health, concentration, and overall well-being. No homeowner should have to accept this level of disturbance without the county at least reviewing whether there are better alternatives. I have tried to work cooperatively with county staff. I appreciate Bruce's willingness to listen and his acknowledgement that my concerns were real. However, despite our conversations, emails, and phone calls, the excessive noise continues every day. I'm not here simply to complain. I'm asking the county to consider solutions. There are other proven traffic safety measures that may achieve the same goal while reducing the burden placed on nearby residents. These include flashing stop ahead warning signs, enhanced lighting, additional pavement markings, reduced speed approaches, or even evaluating whether a 4-way stop would improve safety. My request today is simple and reasonable. Please place this issue under formal review, evaluate the ongoing impacts and adjacent homeowners. Consider whether these rumble strips can be modified or removed in favor of less intrusive safety measures, and continue working with the affected residents until a solution is found that protects both public safety and the peaceful enjoyment of our homes. I appreciate your time, your service to our community, and your willingness to listen. I sincerely hope we can work together toward a solution that balances roadway safety and the rights of the people who live there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Keisha, who would be next?
Next, we have Gary Tonziger speaking on an update regarding election security.
Good morning, Gary. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Gary Tonziger. I live at 11156 193rd Avenue Northwest in Elk River.
Thank you.
I'm here with also Brenda Hanson, Linda Schultz, and Terry Dickinson we're all from Restore Minnesota Election Integrity. And I just wanted to give you an update on our meeting that we had with Auditor Rupp. On June 4th, 2026, Linda Schultz, Brenda Hanson, and I met with Auditor Treasurer Lorraine Rupp. And County Commissioner County Administrator Bruce Messel, sorry, Bruce, I almost gave you.
He's used to it.
To formally request appointment of the Sergeant at Arms for early voting on Election Day pursuant to Minnesota Statute 204C.06 Subdivision 5. Surprisingly, during the meeting, Auditor Rupp was very firm in his decision to not appoint a Sergeant at Arms. She acknowledged the authority to make this appointment, but expressed strong reluctance, citing existing staff training, the ability to pull workers as needed, and the proximity of other law enforcement. She made it clear that the decision rests solely with her office, even if funding is available from the board. According to members in attendance, Auditor Rupp denied that there were serious problems during the 2024 election and downplayed the video of the sheriff's report. When it was pointed out that the Sherburne County Commissioners seemed open to providing additional funding, Auditor Rupp dismissed the suggestion. According to the sheriff's report, the evidence is clear that there were serious problems during the 2024 election period. On page 24 of the report, Sergeant Turner wrote in his concluding statement, "Based on all observations and circumstances, I know there have been violations of Minnesota state statutes relating to elections. We continue to believe this appointment of the Sergeant at Arms is a modest, common-sense measure that would better protect election workers, maintain calm at the polls, and restore public confidence in our elections. We respectfully ask the board once again to support this effort by being prepared to appropriate necessary funds in the auditor's budget should the auditor decide to reconsider or move forward. We will continue to monitor this situation and keep the board informed. Thank you for your attention to this matter and election integrity and the safety of our election workers and our voters. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and concerns, Gary. Appreciate it. Were you speaking for the group too, Gary, just to make sure?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Next, we have Pam Price, speaking on Boulder Creek Wine Bar. We do have 4 people signed up for this item. Will any of you be combining your comments?
Are you willing to consolidate your comments? No. Okay, well, we will cut it off at 15 minutes then, so whoever's been able to speak, once we hit that 15 mark. Thank you.
So we will have Pam Price first.
Good morning, my name is Pam Price. I live at 15597 41st Street, Becker. Oop, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And Boulder Creek Wine Bar's license is up for renewal, and my husband and I want you to know we are still against the bar that sells alcohol in a residential neighborhood. A quiet residential neighborhood with families that have children riding bikes, scooters, rollerblading, walking dogs, and babies in strollers should not have to worry about cars coming and going that have visited the bar with the possibility of being intoxicated. According to the CUP regulations, item number 3, the CUP does not grant authority to sell or resell wine, cider, or other, including any food or food products that are not produced on the property or are not legally grown agricultural commodities. During the first weekend that the bar was open this year, one of the patrons asked Miss Zimmerman how she made her wine and what kind of grapes she uses. Miss Zimmerman's response was that she was growing grapes, but she doesn't source any grapes for her use in wines because the grapes are too young. She said she gets the juice from Northern California. Carol did state she does have apples and pear trees she uses for winemaking. Isn't sourcing grapes from Northern California in violation of the SCUP regulations? If need be, I can give you names and phone numbers to contact the witnesses that heard her say this. When speaking with the Minnesota Department of Public Safety and Alcohol Gambling Enforcement Agency, I was informed that the bar had not applied and registered for the Certificate of Label Approval or Certificate of Exemption since they first opened. The state inspector explained to me that this law was explained to the Zimmermans when the state first came out to inspect them before they were given a liquor license, but they did not register the wines until this year. The state did an inspection of the bar this past May and is now working with them to make sure they follow the state laws for selling their wines. Many neighbors are still against this bar being in our neighborhood, but they are afraid if they say anything, the Zimmermans will harassment as they have harassed others. They have just given up because they feel that their concerns aren't taken seriously. I ask you again, would you be willing to have this establishment that sells alcohol in your neighborhood? We are not opposed to the Zimmermans having this business per se. We would be opposed to anybody having this establishment in our neighborhood that sells alcohol. We ask that you please vote no on this relicensure issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Okay. So we have one that has concerns with it, and can we limit, like, now do we have concerns in favor of it?
No, I have concerns with it.
Okay,
I'll try to keep it very short.
okay,
if that
thank
helps
you.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Shalene Sacre. I reside at 15940 41st Street in Becker. It has been brought to the attention of Sherburne County Planning and Zoning Department that Boulder Creek bar owners have restored the incorrect parking lot. Rather than restoring the unapproved and non-permitted south parking lot that zoning told them to, they restored the original one. It appears to be another instance in which the bar owners have interpreted the conditional use permit in a manner that benefits their business and then sought approval or forgiveness after the fact. In practice, the unapproved parking area allows them to self-police by concealing vehicles and avoid accurately accounting for the number of vehicles on site. Supporting documentation, including photographs, have been submitted to the Planning and Zoning Department, and we are assured that it was being looked into. When the CUP was granted, did the county fully consider the volume of traffic generated by the business? Those of us who live in the neighborhood experience this traffic firsthand. To the neighbors, the excessive traffic is nuisance traffic. The county's definition of nuisance traffic may differ from the residents who must live with its impacts. There was once a quiet, dead-end road, now experiences activity comparable to a recurring event every other Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from the last week of May through the first weekend of October. I respectfully ask each commissioner to consider whether this level of activity would be acceptable in your own neighborhood. During a previous commissioners' meeting, when revocation of the CUP was discussed, it was stated that an additional violation of the bar could result in revocation of the permit. Given the timing of these reported violations, which are having wine from or juice from California, not locally grown, and doing the wrong parking lot restoration, I respectfully ask that you consider these facts when evaluating the renewal of the bar's liquor license on July 14th. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Of the 15
Person
minutes,
up-
there's 1 minute and 40 seconds left of the 15 minutes.
Okay, is there someone that wants to speak in favor of?
We will just combine.
We'll combine. Okay, so please approach the podium, one person. Thank you.
And Chair, you do have the discretion if you want to extend it.
We'll give you your 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carol Zimmerman. I am a semi-retired 15913 41st Street, Becker, Minnesota, 55308. I am a semi-retired special education teacher and the owner of Boulder Creek Wine Bar. I just wanted to point out that everything the commissioners and zoning have asked us to do, we have done. And in the words of the Department of Alcohol and Gambling, we have gone above and beyond, and we are in complete full compliance with all regulations in what we do. I just want to point out also that we are very active in our community, in the organizations and activities. We also give back to our community whenever we can with different donations and so on. Every day that we are open, which is a total of 30, people thank us for battling to keep open because we are bringing our community together and people are meeting each other in the community and enjoying our business. I understand and I respect the fact that people will complain, but if if a business closes or doesn't open because of a couple neighborhood complaints, we're never going to have any businesses. I have invited you all in the past to come and visit us, and I extend that invitation. Come when we're open, come when we're closed if you want. I can give you the tour of our production area or the winery area, and I will keep that invitation open for all of you. I ask that you continue our liquor license so that we can continue to share our business with our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay,
Just a note on county policy before you, all three items that were discussed today pursuant to your policy have been referred to staff.
Yep.
So with respect to the rumble strips, the county engineer's been made aware of it and is asked to follow up with an engineering assessment of the product used, and that will continue. The election stuff, as you heard, was referred to the auditor treasurer, and the concerns about the wine bar have been referred to planning and zoning. We can't really speak about it in open forum because it's an open, I'll call it investigation, but it's a review of the concerns. So as it's appropriate, the board will be updated on all three of those items.
all right, perfect, thank you. Yes.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Halls.
Bruce, the question I've got is, there were 8 people signed up. Were there any topics that were not covered?
No, they're all covered.
No, Commissioner, those were the only 3 topics that were on this open forum for comment.
Thank you.
Yep.
Excellent.
All right. Okay, open forum is now closed, and we will move on to items on our consent agenda that are included in your packet. I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, unless someone would like to remove an item for separate consideration.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Felber,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Hulls. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Bless you. All right, moving on to the next item is announcements and correspondence and communications, and this will be Administrator Messelt.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. I think most things will be covered on the agenda. Just a couple of notes. We did post notice of special meeting for tonight, so more than 2 commissioners can attend the town hall with options. Also, just to note that we will not have anybody attending the NACO conference. There was a conflict on my schedule as well, but we'll make sure that AMC is aware and brings back information for us. And we did receive a full 100% reimbursement from AMC, from NACO, as a thank you for our continued membership. So there was no penalty for changing our initial appointments, and that included for the spouse program as well. So with that, I'll stand for any questions. Otherwise, because you have a long agenda, I can defer for later as well.
Any questions for Bruce? All right, hearing none. Okay, thank you. Moving on now to items on our regular agenda.
I'll be stepping down for a few minutes.
All right, item number 7.1, consider approval of an amendment to the Sherburne County zoning ordinance to add a veterinary clinic as an interim use permit. So we have Lynn, are you? Who's going to be taking this
I think
one?
Mark's going to be taking that. Is
Mark, are you taking
here?
it? Is anybody here?
I'll go find him if you want to. They may be watching and are running down the hall right now as we speak.
Should we give him a little bit?
Well, we can go to.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. I said out of breath, so.
I know, right?
I know, I was gonna go deep, so.
Do you need to take a breath? Are you good?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, good. All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you want me to start? Did you already say Dr. Ashley Anderson-Noak? This was tabled at the February Planning Commission, requesting to amend the Sherburne County zoning ordinance, Section 17, Subdivision 4, Section 8, Subdivision 4, Section 10, Subdivision 4, Section 16.2, Subdivision 4, to add a veterinary clinic as an interim use permit. Planning Commission recommended approval of the ordinance amendment at their meeting.
All right. Any questions? Berlin?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes,
So the-
Commissioner Halls.
The one question, I did a little research on these, and there seems to be two different schools of thought around this particular type of zoning. One group does the 5-acre allowance, but another group goes to 10 acres. And my concern is reading through, from what I've been able to find, is that a lot of jurisdictions find that the 5 acres is not adequate from a neighbor perspective because of the use. So I'm a little concerned about taking it down to 5 acres. Could you comment on that, please?
And that certainly would be the county board's discretion if you wanted to require something greater than 5 acres. Staff had looked at it, they looked at different areas. We did see as well where some areas required larger amounts. That was a discussion that was brought forth at the Planning Commission. Mark, is there anything you want to elaborate on that?
So we did review and we did provide kind of a breakdown of different counties and what they had permitted. And what we found is most counties didn't have real explicit standards for veterinarian clinics. Most of them ran through the IEP process. So large agricultural activities, yes, typically we're on 10 acres. So large stables, things like that, typically we're on 10 acres. But on the veterinarian clinics, we didn't find kind of a consistent standard. Where we tried to land was to make a distinction in the ordinance by having haul-in animal care on 5 acres, and then if animals are staying overnight, it was a 10-acre threshold. So that was our attempt to try and craft an ordinance that kind of covered both of those type of things. But there was but that was definitely an item of concern, and it's been an item of concern through this entire process of trying to create this ordinance.
Well, just continue on this thought, the one concern I have is around the haul-in being limited to 5 acres because of the noise and hours and those sort of things. So I do have a concern on 5 acres versus 10 acres.
Yep.
And I can kind of concur with Commissioner Halls in regards to this too. The haul-in, if you come in, if you're running normal business hours, not from 8 to 5, whatever it might be, if you run into a sick animal, sick horse, anything, no good veterinarian is going to send them home that evening. They're going to spend the night probably to manage their care. I can't imagine that veterinarian would say, no, I can't. My ordinance states that at 5 o'clock you have to leave. I don't see that as a possibility. So I'm kind of in concurrence with Commissioner Halls here that if we're going to have this, we need it more so on a 10-acre parcel with the same setbacks on agricultural land of 50 feet. That I would guess that I would say would be prudent in a situation like this.
It feels like, Madam Chair.
Yes,
It feels like a similar land use to me.
Right.
I concur with some of those same concerns about the 5 acres, and some of my concern is then we would be having to be, obviously, I'm assuming there could be some complaints. We would have to be looking, when I look through the documentation that you provided into what other counties around us are doing, I noticed there was some difference in some counties, it was 10 acres, Wright County, for example, right across the river. Other counties used animal units to address the issues, so they manage the animal units. Part of my concern is when I'm looking into the information, and it's not that I don't understand that these type of services are needed. I know they are across the state. It's challenging in the field of veterinary clinic, especially when you get to your larger animals, to be able to provide their needs. But I am concerned we're going to set ourselves up for something that's going to need to have constant oversight by staff. And I also am concerned that, are we recognizing the existing animals that are currently there that are part of the family of this clinic? I want to say, my understanding is 5 horses, some llamas, some geese. Did I hear a donkey? So I'm just concerned that we're gonna set ourselves up for some situations that are gonna be ongoing.
One thing we got to remember too, this is for the whole county,
Yes.
not just one specific parcel or ID. So this could happen anywhere, in any one of our districts. And I think whether you put this in a general rural or a residential area, if it's platted for houses at 5 acres, I just think it's too crowded. It's going to be too much of a burdensome for that. And we've ran into this in multiple situations for IUPs and CUPs of enforcement. And this is another one of those situations where how do you enforce this without having someone sit there all the time? I mean, we can put all the conditions we want on this, but it is very difficult to enforce a lot of these IUPs and CUPs, as we all know.
Commissioner Schumacher, any thoughts?
I will concur. I hate horses, as I've said to many times before, but somebody has to ride them, and it's your hobby to do that, and somebody needs to take care of them. But I think that the size of land required to effectively, someone who's sick, we all go to the hospital, we need a whole hospital hallway to do our care. You got to stretch them out, you got to take time and an area to work on them, and I don't think 5 acres is large enough. And I'm opposed to the 10 acres. I think it should be on 20 acres, but that's where I'm at on it. It's a large animal and it's a large area to be cared for. It needs to be exercised. It needs space to be on its own, away from other animals that may or may not be sick. So I'm on the other side of this, of larger than 10 acres.
And I don't hate horses.
I do.
I actually love horses. So it's not that I don't understand that there is a need to tend to their health care. I just am concerned about this 5 acres. I just think it's small for.
So, Madam Chair, if we understand correctly, is the board wanting to change agricultural, general, rural, and urban expansion for large animal from 5 to 10 acres?
I think that's something we should look into.
Yep. Do we have time under the 60-day rule to have staff review and come back?
We are not under the 60-day rule for an ordinance amendment, so we do have time, yes.
Okay, so then I think if the board's comfortable, since it's difficult to do it on the fly, would be
I would
to
like to
have a
table it.
motion to table the item and have it returned to the staff with the recommended language added for final board consideration.
Madam Chair, before we do that.
And usually on a table, there,
It's
do have a vote and there's no discussion.
Well, you need a second first, and then it's non-negotiable, non-debatable. You just vote, right?
Commissioner Schumacher.
And if we could, instead of 10 acres, maybe consider 12 or 15 acres. I'd vote on it that way, just as a.
I would also consider the setback.
Correct, okay.
Okay, so have I heard a motion?
Motion to table.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And we have a second by Commissioner Hulls. All right, item is tabled.
You need a vote.
Oh, sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. All right, that motion carries.
And just to be clear, that we'll bring back the ordinance and highlight the sections you discussed, final decision of the board. Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda is consider a request to amend the Sherburne County Comprehensive Land Use Map from agricultural residential to energy production. Lynn and Mark.
So this is for Cedar Creek Energy. This is in San Diego Township on 43 acres in the Ag District. Planning Commission recommended denial of the comprehensive plan land use map amendment. And in your packet, you have resolutions if you choose to approve it or resolution to deny. We gave you both options.
Any questions for Lynn or Mark?
No.
Yes, Commissioner Felber?
No, I don't have any questions, but
No, okay.
I'd like to just move ahead. I am going to motion to approve this change, and if I can get a second, then we'll have the discussion on why I believe that that's relevant.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Felber and a second by Commissioner Schumacher. Now we are open to discussion. Any discussion?
So,
Commissioner
yes,
Felber.
this particular application, reading through the packet, there's a lot of opposition based on, actually this was a faulty denial, I think. by the board. A lot of the information that's in there discussing the possibility of heavy metals, the disruption to the ground, these types of things are simply not relevant to the type of facility that's being put in. It is a small solar field. It does not raise the local temperature. It's going to be used with driven pylons and silicon-based solar panels themselves, so there's not a heavy metal threat. The ground will be covered by a planting for 43 years, which, as we discussed at the Sherburne County, at the SWCD thing, it takes about 50 years, from 50 to 100 years for minerals to get back in the ground. Actually, setting this land aside for 43 years will start that process. It's likely in the long run that this type of facility, that they will put new panels on it further down the line. And I think the most important part of this whole procedure is that this family has had this property for a long time. They are involved in Christmas tree farming. And one of the problems we have with Christmas tree farmers right now that they're really getting beat up is the DNR put in a deer feeding ban. And what I've heard from other Christmas tree farmers is that the deer are going gangbusters after the trees on the farms, and it's not the cheap trees. It's the Fraser firs, it's the balsam firs that are getting destroyed. So they're in a very, very much a hardship time. So for them to be able to put in this small piece of solar, which is a long ways away from the houses, the neighbors' houses, obviously they're pretty good at growing trees, so they will have adequate screening for it, and be able to basically pass on their generational wealth and keep this farm going. I think it's a no-brainer to pass this thing.
Any other comments? Commissioner Hulls?
I'd like to hear Commissioner Gray's take on this one.
Well, I concur
Great.
with Commissioner Felber's in regards to that. This family's had this land for 60 years. They actually tried to plat it years ago in regards to this. For whatever reason that they were not allowed to plant, this was phase 3 of the platting process. Our comprehensive plan changed, so they were not allowed to plat it because of the way it's zoned. This is a chance for them to take a parcel of land that's not generating any revenue for them to generate some revenue. The electricity that's being generated on that is going to be used locally. It's not going to be out of the Sherburne County like other facilities were that we've actually had to deal with. I think in the long run, it's also in a tough budget time for us. This is going to generate revenue, not a lot, but it increases the property tax on it, I think by $1,700 or $1,800, plus the production tax is another $6,000 to $10,000, depending upon it. I think this is a no-brainer also. I think I concur with Commissioner Felber in the fact that there wasn't enough information brought forth at the Planning Commission to justify the denial. I think I visited the site twice. There is no residential housing that I can tell, in my opinion, that is in view of this. I think I agree with Commissioner Felber also that they run a tree farm. I think they'll be adequately screened across this. They're 6-foot blue spruce, 16 feet apart. I think it's going to be completely surrounding the circumference of this thing. I think it's an issue where I think that it will benefit not only Santiago Township from an economic standpoint, Sherburne County and the residents because of the renewable energy that's going to be used locally.
All right. One question I have, I know that we'd be looking to move action on permitting the solar farm to, we'd have to change the status. What I'm curious about is if that is approved, the next step is the interim use permit.
Correct.
And I'm being as the planning commission denied it, did they actually go through the process of vetting it for conditions and such? I don't see conditions listed here.
In the minutes, there were conditions that were listed that staff had proposed as part of our staff comments. And so we would request that you go with those conditions. The applicant did, prior to Planning Commission, they went to the Board of Adjustment and they were denied the request to not have to plant trees on a portion of the property. So under condition number 15, we had some additional language that if the variance request was denied that night, which it was, We asked that on the west boundary of the solar farm, 2 rows of trees be planted, one with Black Hills spruce and one row with gray dogwood. And then we would ask that it also state that they are planted no more than 16 feet apart. Otherwise, all the other conditions that were listed in there would be what we would request. The only other issue is with regard to the decommissioning. It would be, the county board in the past has been going with 100,000 per megawatt, and so that would need to be added into the conditions, because that was blank as far as how much per megawatt.
All right, I'm just curious on that blankness, because we are going to be having that conversation about increasing that decommissioning cost. Is that something we could still leave blank and then fill in when we do decide what we're going to be doing, if we're going to increase decommissioning costs?
Madam Chair, if I
Yes.
may, I would advocate for, even though we are bringing up later in this exact meeting today, I would believe that for this particular application, we go with what we have been doing and we stick to that.
Okay.
Because, you know, that was the conditions under which the entire project was set up, the parameters of the project.
Yeah, I concur with that. I think that's fair, considering that's what they made their application for, and we're running into it. Yeah, to change them midstream would be
I just wanted to point it
challenge.
out that we are in the
It
midstream.
may be slightly less attractive a week from now.
Yeah. So is everybody good with, do they want those, did you say 15 conditions, Lynn, that staff
There's a
proposed?
total of 22 conditions that were
That staff
listed in
proposed.
staff comments.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Madam Chair, that's the next item. So if you get past
This.
2,
Address
then on
that.
3, the motion would be to
Perfect.
approve the IUP, and we can help you craft it then. So.
Perfect, okay. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, then I'd be looking for a motion.
May I have a motion?
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. Yep, okay.
It's been a long morning already.
It has been.
It's a long morning.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Madam Chair?
Aye.
Yes.
Just a question, did you want to go with the resolution that was in your
Approving.
packet, approving it, or do you want to just have your own findings? In your
Well,
packet, there was a resolution for
Yeah,
approval?
the motion was to approve via the resolution.
Okay, with the resolution, great,
Yeah.
just
Yes.
making sure.
Yes,
ma'am.
okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
register me as an aye. I didn't get it in the microphone in time, but I just
Okay.
want to make sure it was there.
Well, we didn't really get to the complete. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on then to the next item is 7.3. Consider the approval of an interim use permit for solar farm Cedar Creek Energy.
Madam
Lynn,
Chair.
Art.
And so this is for a 2.475 megawatt solar farm with Connexus, same location. Planning Commission recommended denial. In your packet, you have 2 resolutions, one to approve and one to deny. If you chose to approve, as I mentioned previously, under item number 15, we had a little bit of language that we wanted tweak there. 100,000 per megawatt, if you're comfortable with that, and a total of 22 conditions plus the findings.
All right, any questions?
So I would make a motion to approve with the 22.
You can just do as recommended by staff, and we'll take Lynn's statement and put it in the motion.
As recommended by staff.
I'll second that.
All right, and then also, do we have to include the language that you had in here in regards to why?
The resolution approving.
So the resolution approving and the 22 conditions as recommended by
Correct.
staff.
Perfect,
So
thank
that
you.
is our motion. Everybody right?
With the same $100,000 requirement.
Correct.
Yes, okay. So, let me back up. The motion was made by Commissioner Hulse, the second was by Commissioner Felber. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Makes it a bit more challenging when we're. I know, right? Okay, is the next one up is consider approval of a rezoning request from agricultural to commercial. Anthony and Gina, I hope I'm saying this right. Forcier?
Here,
Okay,
thing.
All right.
This is in section 21 of Haven Township on 10 acres in the Ag District. Planning Commission recommended approval of the rezone with the findings as listed in your packet.
Madam Chair, I would
Yes.
motion that I would motion that we change this that we pass this rezoning request. I mean, this is just basically fixing an issue that has been persisting for a little bit, and it makes complete sense.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the rezoning request from agricultural to commercial by Commissioner Felber and a second by Commissioner Schumacher. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Next item. Consider approval of an interim use permit for business selling vehicles, boats, and farm equipment, TNG equipment. Lynn, Mark.
Same property, 5 acres, Ag District. Planning Commission recommended approval of the interim use permit with the 11 conditions and the finding of facts that are in your packet.
All right, be looking for a motion then.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hulls and a second by Commissioner Gray to approve as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right, next item is consider approval of an interim use permit for asphalt and concrete mixing plant portable by Knife River Corporation.
And this
Lynn and
is
Mark.
in Livonia Township on 69 acres in the General Rural District. Planning Commission recommended approval of the interim use permit with the 6 conditions and the findings of fact.
All right, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the interim use permit for asphalt and concrete mixing plant portable by Knife River to include the 6 findings, the 6 conditions and the findings of fact.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Schumacher, seconded by Commissioner Felber. And just for clarification, this is a portable, which is going to be a short-term use, obviously, and then will go away.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All
you.
right, thank you. We've already done that one for Public Work. Nope, we don't. Consider approval of the Public Works Department Survey Section reorganization. Andrew. Mr. Witter, what do you have?
Thank you, Madam Chair, County Board members. Appreciate the opportunity to bring this in front of the County Board. In essence of time, I'm going to truncate my presentation a little bit because I had a little not premonition, but I had a little epiphany this morning, if I will. But we will.
Those. What time of the morning was that?
Yeah, exactly, right. So I kind of want to walk you through where we've been and where we're going. And in this request, so there's a few things that I want to note. One, we've been working very closely with Human Resources in regards to this topic and item, as well as the regrading of a couple of positions have gone through DDA, who we use for our position grading and have been approved by them. And we do have the support of Human Resources on this process here. So as you note on the screen there, it started back in about 2019 as we were struggling to hire certain vacant positions. There's obviously a strong need with the development of Sherburne County to have a fairly robust survey section to help out with platting and as well as some of the other statutorily required items. This is what it used to look like in 2019. We were having a tough time hiring that assistant county surveyor position. We eliminated that, switched it over to a lower level survey technician position. Ends up looking like that. That's essentially where we stand today. Done. Moving forward to today, we have a lot of the same situations and a lot of the same industry issues that we've been running into. What this will do is it will allow us the flexibility to hire survey technicians at any level. Right now, we are only able to hire them at a Survey Tech 3. And we're seeing that being able to hire them at a lower level and train them in to do the work that we need them to do has been very beneficial for us and is definitely needed. So as I mentioned, we work with Tammy and the Human Resource team. They did reach out to a number of other counties to kind of take a look at what they were doing, what it wants to look like, what it needs to look like, and then some options and recommendations. Had a number of internal meetings as well as phone conversations with the counties listed there to kind of see what they have going on. This is really kind of how they're set up from a survey tech scenario. You can see Sherburne County in the middle there. All we have is a survey tech 3 position. We don't have that 1, 2, or 4 position. So with this item, we are requesting to add survey tech 1 and survey tech 2, not an FTE, just having the position there and available to us so that if we're not able to hire a survey tech 3 because there aren't any in the industry, nobody's applying, things like that, we can step it down and hire somebody at a lower level and train them in. Here you can see kind of that recommendation as I've just walked through. So in summary, that's kind of what we're looking at, is adding the 1, the 2, and then modifying the survey tech 3 because we have both essentially an inside survey tech position and an outside survey tech position. So kind of combining that just for some future flexibility as well. This is effectively what we are proposing with this reorganization. You can see we have the county surveyor still there. We currently have an assistant county surveyor. We are requesting to change that to a deputy county surveyor. This allows us more flexibility when people aren't in the office to be able to sign plats, continue the process, not slow things down. The other big part about it is our county surveyor, I was trying to see if he stepped into the room. He's indicated he might have less than a handful of years left.
What?
So having the succession plan in place, this deputy county surveyor is a fully licensed surveyor. He came to us actually unlicensed and has been working through his schooling, has gotten licensed, has gone through the 4 years of mentoring required under state law to get his license and is now currently licensed. So it's a little bit of a reorganization structurally there. You can see on the left side, we have the field operations, again, the outdoor folks that are doing kind of the boots on the ground surveying. We've got a couple of individuals inside that are working on plat and plat research and legal research, helping out some of the road construction projects as well. You'll note the Survey Tech 2 and Survey Tech 1 positions are in there. The parentheses are the number of employees, FTEs in each one of those positions. We're still at 8. We're not adding employees. In the next 3 years, this is kind of what we're anticipating it to look like. You'll see that surveyor coordinator position. They've also indicated that they have about a handful of years or less left. So we're actually proposing to slide that deputy over into that spot. And then you'll see the survey tech 3 goes from 3 to 4.
Any questions for Andrew? Do you have more to say?
Give me
Have
30.
we gotten to your epiphany yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
30 seconds.
Still
I think
coming,
it's the next
okay.
slide. I wanted to include this too because this reorganization does adjust that deputy county surveyor grade level at a grade 17. It also adjusts the county surveyor grade level to a grade 19. This is what it means effectively. If you take a look at the third to last bullet and the second to last bullet, we're looking at a savings in wages and benefits once those retirements do occur. There's my epiphany. This is what it used to look like in 2019. We brought somebody in a lower level. We educated them. They wanted to get educated. We're back to essentially where we started, which is what our goal was. That's what we needed to get to. So that was my epiphany, is that it's great when a plan comes together, and in this situation it did. So with that, thank you for the time, and I'll take any questions.
It's good when a plan comes together, when it takes a little time as well.
Correct.
All right, any questions for Andrew?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion to consider to approve the Public Works Department Survey Section reorganization as presented. That was a motion by Commissioner Hulls and seconded by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion?
I just want to say I like this a lot. This is a great idea. You know, it's another one of those jobs that my understanding, it's not everybody does it, not everybody can do it. So it's a hard type of employee to get, and so we definitely want to secure and make sure we have a plan to keep those types of employees in the county, and this really works for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can Sherbanize them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Urbanize them.
All right, no further questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Next item is receive the review and accept the auditor treasurer's monthly report. Good morning, Lorraine.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's freezing in here. So, enclosed is the May trial balance prepared by Accounting Manager Sherlyn Kapsner. If you want to flip that screen, please. There we go. Sorry. This includes ARPA funds of $682,848.85 and the Recorder's Compliance Fund of $379,960. The next 3 pages are the investment reports prepared by Finance Officer Brenda Davis. Investment earnings are above budget at $517,066.84 at month ends. Earnings year to date total $1,517,066.84 compared to $1,550,625.35 or 37 cents last year, behind by $33,558.53 from the previous year's numbers. Okay. Budget to actual report is the page 6. So a couple more. There you go. That is our distribution by institution. And again, there you go. There is our budget to actual report. It is reported by function, and it is a modified accrual report. Property tax collections on June 3rd, our office sent out friendly reminder letters, our late notices, to 1,573 parcels. That's 3.8% of the total that were originally mailed. That the first half real estate remained unpaid or a portion thereof. This was up from our 2025 mailings by 30 parcels. Taxpayers generally appreciate this notice. Not all counties do them. There is still a good number that get caught by the postmark at the U.S. Post Office Service Center versus your local post office. We do require by statute to use the actual postmarks for the calculation on the late payment fees. We did include that in our insert, made sure that that was very clear in there, and it has been on our website. So we have been trying to get that word out to people so it catches fewer and fewer each year, but it still will catch a few. Our office also just sent out 29 certified letters with the expiration of redemption information to parcels that meet the forfeiture requirements for 2026. So that does start that process on those 29 properties. Elections, by the time I do give this report, as of today, we have conducted 4 election judge trainings that were all well attended. We are currently waiting for some additional information from the Office of the Secretary of State for the head judge and clerk training. That will also be conducted, and we will also be doing an in-person poll pad training for the clerks and judges. Absentee balloting begins this Friday. We are currently waiting for our ballots. There was a delay in actually being able to send a print because of some issues with some of the positions at the state level. So we're crossing our fingers. We've been told we will get at least our absentee ballot portion of our order by Wednesday or early Thursday because UOCAVA and our permanent AB ballots need to be in the mail on Friday. So more to come there. So, any questions from the board?
Good job. Thank you very much.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes, Commissioner
you still have my vote for the 1/5 approval of funding of the Sergeant of Arms. Just so you know, I'm raising my hand. I'll make sure I stamp it on there. And then thank you for that.
Thank you for that vote. We feel that those funds can be used in different locations at this time. And we have made changes from 2024 that we think will improve the flow and additional education that will help our staff.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
See you next week.
So Thank you very much. Great report. At this time then, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the auditor treasurer's monthly report as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Felber, seconded by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion?
Hey, I just want to say thank you for a really, really fabulous job your whole department and everyone does in regards to all of this, the numbers, the elections, everything. It's much appreciated.
Yeah.
It gets a little crazy, but we do a good job.
And I understand that, so that's why it's appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much. Please tell all the staff as well
I will, thank
that
you.
we do value them. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Lorraine. All right, okay, so at this time then, we have commissioners' correspondence. Whoops, sorry, what I missed. Oh, consider approval of a joint powers agreement with the Minnesota Department of Corrections for prosecution costs. And we have our county attorney, Don Nyhus. Are you gonna give us the update?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
This is an annual agreement we've entered into at the County Attorney's Office for many years. It is one of the few ways that we're able to recover some prosecution costs. This is specifically for the cases that we prosecute for offenses that occur at MCF St. Cloud, which is a DOC facility that we have here in the county. This has been something that has worked well in the past years. It's like, as I said, been in place for many years. Our office then just tracks our time in the prosecution of this type of offense. And so I'm simply asking for the board to approve my ability to sign this so we can go forward on another year of this type of agreement.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hulse to approve the joint powers agreement with the Minnesota Department of Corrections for prosecution costs, and a second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Okay, now we can move on to commissioner correspondence and committee reports. I will start then with Commissioner Gray.
Oh, geez. What an honor. I just want to highlight one thing. I think a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was appointed to the MOSAC Committee, which is the Metropolitan Area Water Supply Advisory Committee, for those of you that don't. It is the 7-county metro area. It's governed by the Met Council. At our recent meeting 2 weeks ago, they gave a report on a lawsuit with the DNR and White Bear Lake in regards to the water levels and the drawdown of local wells. The lawsuit, depending upon which way it goes, the gentleman that was making the presentation stated that there could be ramifications in regards to large water users statewide. And I requested when he sat back down, I asked him personally if that would include agricultural, and he did say yes. So in Sherburne County, our agricultural community, the last thing they need is another fee onto their water usage, which would be with their input costs now and the margins, they're barely making any money farming now to begin with. So this could have ramifications long-term, I think, in regards to water usage and considerably because of the amount of irrigation wells that are out there that I would classify as all large water users. So it's something to look at moving forward. That was the highlight probably of one of my 12 or 14 different things of topic, and I think most of you are aware that I had a lot of constituent issues in the last couple of weeks that I had to deal with or not deal with. So we'll leave it at that, and that was mine for this week.
Quick question, Commissioner Gray. When they're talking large, are they, I'm assuming they're talking municipalities as well, along with ag?
To be determined, I think.
To be determined, okay.
I think it is, the way this lawsuit's going out, I think there's some appetite for large water users statewide to be addressed instead of just because the metro area, water's life, you know. I understand whether they're, and they want the large water users to be taxed or per gallon or however it would go. I'm not sure.
Okay.
They're already paying their appropriation fees for their well and all of that, so I think that that's part of it, but this could have long-range implications for the farming community in Sherburne County, which I've already spoke to the State Irrigators Association in regards to it, so their lobbyist is going to be looking at it. It needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, I think.
Definitely something to keep our eye
Eyes
on
on.
and
Yep.
stay on top
Yep.
of. All right, thank you. Anything further?
Nope, I'm good.
You're good? All right. Commissioner Halls?
Yeah, this was a busy few weeks because we had the Corrections Board meeting a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, that's continuing to move forward, but there's changes will be taking place on the makeup of that board over the next couple of months. The also had our tech steering committee meeting as well, and I think that team's going nicely, and we've had some discussions around AI use and that sort of thing in those meetings. So I think those have been very productive discussions. We've got the county fair coming up pretty quickly. I met with that team last week. There is they do have some requests, or a request in to meet with the Sheriff's Department on some parking issues with respect to the Sheriff Department boat. So I did touch base with the sheriff on that, but if we got those requests in, I just want to make sure that we follow up on those before the fair so that they're trying to free up some parking, is what that comes down to. And then of course, we all were at the AMC district meeting as well. Well, not all of us.
Not all of us.
That's right. So a few of us were at the AMC district meeting as well, and so that I think that was a good meeting. There's a lot going on, as was discussed earlier today, and I really appreciate our legislators really taking seriously the effect of legislation that's been passed over the last several years. And one thing I wanted to bring out is that we haven't even seen the full ramifications of some of that legislation yet. As Representative Meckland was referring to with respect to what we call Maftequata, we're still working out how that's going to get paid for, just because it's such a large mandate. And that's the piece of legislation that he was referring to, and that we haven't even seen the full impact on that yet. So, but I appreciate their time today, and I appreciate the administrator being able to make time for them as well.
And just to know, we'll have a second one with it. We're hoping a couple of the other ones who couldn't make it today, so.
Yeah, and I think I like a comment that was made earlier in discussion of getting them to recognize down there, and I think a lot of them do understand that, but it's getting it to understand that when you're going to send something of an unfunded mandate down to counties or school districts or whoever you're going to send it to, be willing to look at the fiscal note attached to it, so you understand what it is that you are putting on the bodies of government that are down below you, and quit calling it the body of government. You're putting it on the taxpayers. Let's keep reminding taxpayers are paying for this.
Well, it's important to note that under current legislation, if the legislature passes mandates a state law, we refer to it as an unfunded mandate, but it's a state law that requires a certain action by local bodies of government. And the way legislation is written today, if they choose not to pay for that mandate, they're not required to submit a fiscal note. And so it's a way around them being accountable for what this legislation is going to cost. It is optional to if they pass those costs down for a fiscal note, a local fiscal note to be, and most of them choose not to do that. So I think it's important when we say unfunded mandate, what we mean is that they are passing a law that requires action on the part of the counties. And if it's unfunded, it means that they are requiring counties to figure out how to pay for it. So
That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Felber?
So, yeah, it's been a very set of busy weeks. NACO Public Safety, two big things there, really, that they're looking for more FDA regulation of vaping systems because they're only the FDA is only regulating electronic delivery systems that contain nicotine only. So that was a concern for them. There was a bunch of FEMA changes that have been proposed. Those will all require legislation at the federal level. I watched the last in a series from Reimagine Appalachia, responsible data center webinar. They've got a series of them out there. I've been sharing those with the public and with other elected officials. It's a pretty good series if you don't know that much about data centers to really figure out how a good, responsible data center could be built. East Central Regional Juvenile Center, things are going well over there. We don't expect a big change with the change in age of delinquency. Went on a landfill tour up at Waste Management's tour landfill up in Elk River. Things are looking great out there. If you consider big piles of trash look good, but they're doing a good job and things are going well. And there will be a new manager out there soon. I went on a tour of a new business. There's Ascent Flowers in Becker Township. Yi Lee and Brian Johnson. It'll be opening in 2028. It'll be a combination arboretum and sales of exotic flowers and plants. So a lot of interesting stuff going on out there. I am out and about knocking on doors these days, so I'm meeting a lot of people, a lot of additional constituent stuff. We had Energy Transition Advisory Council meeting, which is how I missed the AMC Regional. A lot of that's going on. There's a whole lot of things going on there. I won't go into it all. The one thing that is worth mentioning is that we're using ETAC as a vehicle, and Brian Fleming from our county is working to try to get additional funding for all of the affected counties for economic development. We'll see how that goes. We had a Pillar 2 meeting. Those went well. There's a lot of notes there. I reviewed the Pillar 1 notes. I went on the story stroll at the History Center, which was really, really nice. And I mean, they're doing some great activities out there. The current management is trying to get things more active out there. And there was just an awful lot of happy kids out there enjoying the story stroll. MESB executive, things are going well there. We're just trying to figure out our budget like everybody else. Micah, they talked about, there was a whole lot of legislative review, a lot of which we talked about already here. A lot of pension stuff. They are trying to put together a couple of new committees. One is on pensions and one is on public safety. So I'm trying to get on a couple of those because I don't have enough to do. CMRP, Rayanne will talk about that more. I went to the Mayor's Roundtable in Becker. That's getting to be a really good thing. Mayor Kolbinger has that. He brings together the representatives from Becker City, Becker Township, the schools. It's really getting to be a good deal. The Sherburne County Sub-Coalition presented there. That was a good meeting. Sherburne County CEC, working on the budget. Everything's going on. We're trying to get by with 3 instead of 4 educators. Sherburne County Board of Appeal and Equalization, which we all went to, went by pretty well. Great River Regional Library Finance Board, they came to the board overall with looking to get 3.68 of an increase. The board is trying to get them to bring it down to 2.5. And this is a very lean organization, but these are the kind of concessions that we're trying to make to keep things reasonable. The Park Advisory Board, we actually went out and visited out at the Public Works facility and looked at all their equipment and talked to the staff. This year is awful. Next year, we need to get more people for the parks. They have 2 people and 2 interns that physically make almost everything happen, along with Gina. I mean, and our parks are getting bigger. We're going to have to take a serious look at that next year. Packaging EPR board, I listened to that as it's going on. There's just this continuing discussion of implementation on packaging requirements for the state of Minnesota. The Sherburne Soil and Water Conservation Tour of Practices, that went very, very well. A lot of good information there as always. Went to Becker Freedom Days, multiple events in the parade. The Energy Transition Advisory Committee, Emerging Issues. We're looking into what's going to be happening with the Minnesota gas plants. That's one of the big things we'll be looking at there. Sat through the Excel IRP Integrated Resource Planning presentation, and they're looking at the next 15 years and figuring out how they're going to do that. The RFP will be available in like November of 2026. The comment period will be winter 2026 to summer 2027. So there'll be continuing stuff on that. AMC Solid Waste Working Group, really trying to figure out how we're going to promote better management of solid waste in the future. Could talk a long time on that, but I won't. The town hall's already been mentioned. Other basic constituent stuff, boat landings, new businesses, several that I've been able to pass on to Brian Fleming and get him to work with. A lot of folks had questions on solar, data centers. Been working with some horse trail folks about road signage issues. I had a cause to learn about Starlink ground stations in the last couple of weeks, something I didn't know anything about until somebody called and asked. But they are being built. There's one going in down by Buffalo in Wright County. This particular facility will be 100 by 200, but it will have 40 antennas in it. And each antenna is about 2 by 2 meters, and they actually link to the Starlink's the satellites in the air, and it brings it down, puts it into ground cable, and sends it to internet distribution centers. On a more sober note, since our last meeting, 10 police have been shot nationwide. One in St. Peter, Minnesota was shot last week, as I always mention that. And one more little thing, I have been requesting that we have a discussion about the Minnesota flag. I understand today was super busy. We didn't have time for it, but I want to insist that we talk about it, at least have a conversation on the next meeting, because it's a big deal in my district. This flag does not fly in my district, period. So, and I'll leave it at that.
So I think we should have board direction on that, because my recommendation is that we don't have that discussion until after the election, given especially the legislative and the federal concerns. But, you know, it's board purview. One commissioner can request it, and then the board can say, do you want to put it on a formal agenda or not? So.
Yeah, and some of the concerns that are around the discussion is we are always in front of bodies of government up above us, legislative bodies, federal, that we are asking large amounts of dollars for, and we need bipartisan support on that. So I'm a little hesitant. I don't know what anybody else's thoughts are, but I understand what you're saying. But yeah, I'm just not 100% sure if that's an avenue that we want to get into. But I'm just one person. Any thoughts?
Well, I think that, I mean, the board policy has been if someone brings it up or insists on something on the agenda, then we need to do that. I just want to be careful that we don't midstream try to change our policy.
No, and that's true, but it's also a proposed agenda till the board votes on it. So we can put it on the proposed agenda, and you can either accept or reject the agenda at the next meeting, or you can just have that conversation now. That's all I was saying. You guys always adopt your agenda, so if like 4 of you say we don't want it on the agenda, it comes off. I was just trying to be more efficient, and again, because the last direction I had was schedule it, but there wasn't a date or time certain, so.
And it was also under workshop.
Yeah, it was originally workshop too, so.
Yeah.
And again, my preference would be until we know the lay of the landscape, both in DC and in St. Paul, I wouldn't recommend you have that discussion.
Thoughts?
Madam Chairwoman, it already flies, no pun intended, underneath future workshops, and it's just fine staying right there.
I kind of agree with, I appreciate Commissioner Felber's regards to this. I understand where he's coming from completely. I do see where Ray Ann says, you know, that we have to get bipartisan support in the current makeup of the legislature right now. We don't know where it's going to fall, statewide or federal-wise. So I kind of, under the assumption of Bruce too, that we wait and see what happens after November 4th and go from there. But my decisions don't make any bearing or any at all in regards to what flag is back here or what we're flying out. You know, I don't base anything off of that flag. I understand the ramifications of it for a lot of people, and I appreciate that, but.
Yeah. And I personally fly the old flag.
I got the old flag at home too.
Well, just, okay, so we can't have a discussion about this. It's not on the agenda.
Right.
No, but you can, the consensus of the board can be discussed. And again, it's up to Commissioner Felber if he wants it on the next agenda, then you guys vote yes or no on the agenda. I'm just saying if he knows the will of the body, maybe you can have this conversation as general consensus, since you're just doing reports on future items.
Crickets.
No, I don't, I'm up, I'm ready.
Said what I said. I mean, it's a big deal for my constituents, so I would like to bring it forward.
It's going to be a bigger deal if the cost of some of these projects coming up land on their plate.
It
So
could.
that's also a concern, that maybe the conversation can be,
We're not necessarily taking action on it.
Okay.
It's a workshop, right?
Yeah.
So we're not saying that at this meeting, we're gonna remove it, we're gonna change it. We're just gonna have a discussion about what possible futures it could be and people's concerns. So that's
good with
exactly
that.
what I'm looking for at this
I'm
point
good
in
with
time.
that.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so just by consensus, we're good with that thought?
Okay.
Okay,
So what was the consensus?
workshop.
Workshop.
Next meeting?
We can fit it.
Or leave it as it is?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would just also like to point out that your next meeting starts budget workshops.
Okay,
Yeah,
So
2
to
days of
be-
budget workshops.
You know, of your time, because you're going to start budget workshops right now are tentative starting at noon. So depending on, and it's the only meeting in July, so those tend to sometimes be loaded agendas, just to be aware of the time constraints you may have for that meeting.
yeah,
There hasn't been any short
Good note.
meetings for months, so that's where
True.
we're at.
all right. So consensus is
August.
August workshop?
1st of August? First
Meeting.
meeting of August.
Yeah,
Good?
I'm good with that.
Okay. And like I said, I'm just concerned about the fiscal note that can go along on this idea. Okay, all right. That is it for your update?
That's it for me right now, yes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. All right, Commissioner Schumacher.
Well, this morning, I want to talk about how great County Road 44 and our public works staff are doing. Michael's, I got to tour the facility of what was happening from my front windshield, which is no excuse for not for cutting it so short to get here, but they're working on the north side, and I knew that when I took that right-hand turn instead of going down School Street. So that's where I started my morning. It was wonderful. Thank you guys for starting it without.
So you're saying that was a designated tour?
Designated tour.
Designated
On my
tour.
list of
Okay.
the top items I did, designated County Road 44.
Oh, that's kind of thin.
On the top 3 items, I'm dealing with a blight issue in Livonia Township, which I need to work on the county attorney's office and planning and zoning over as an ongoing issue. It's been added to a continual problem. Number 2, to move on to central jobs and training, there is the operation levy. They had a levy to cover funding in between grant reimbursements, and that operating line of credit was $200,000, which has a zero balance on it. But with what's going on at the state, the board raised that number to $500,000 to cover deficiency balance. And as you know, the 11 of us are on the hook for that if something would to go awry. So I'd ask the chairwoman to add to a future agenda is to have central jobs and training, the executive director come in for a workshop 2.0, not an independent workshop. I think it could be brief, but that way she could give you guys the update directly. Her goal was between the 11 of us to go to all of our meetings in a workshop setting, and so if that would be willing to you guys in the future, we'd like to do that as a workshop. Number 3, I did not have time, but I'm going to reach out to our colleague, Commissioner Mandy from Anoka. As you know, Columbia Heights had a meeting regarding the removal of all flock cameras from the city of Columbia Heights. There's not many things I agree with that go on down there, but that could be one of the items, and I do want to follow up with our colleague just to see how it's going down in the southern side of Anoka County, which is our next door neighbor, and as you know. So that was it. I really appreciate it, and thank you guys. I'm sorry I missed all of the Isanti County, Mille Lacs County jokes, as you guys probably heard them when you were in Cambridge.
We did. All right, thank you for that update. Our lists are pretty long because it has been 3 weeks in between our last meeting, so busy, all of us were definitely busy. I'm going to probably highlight one of the things that I've been working on and working with our legislative partners in regards to the options situation. And it is more than just options, it's the amount of organizations that were pretty much put on notice that their license were in jeopardy of being shut down. They were also not able to bill for services. And basically, it looked like there was 3,000 of them in the state. And we all agree, nobody wants to have our system have fraud involved at all. But we've got to be better at coming at this and understanding that there are a lot of reputable providers, and they have been caught up in this. And the people that it will impact and the families that it will impact if this does not get figured out is going to be massive. And I'm just grateful that we've got a great body of representatives that are there trying to figure it out. So hopefully this will get resolved soon. Also, I attended 7W Transportation Board meeting, also the ATP3 Transportation Board meeting. Those things went well. The one thing that they're looking at trying to figure out into the future is funding, as always, is a challenge. As we all know, these bodies are in preservation mode only, but we also know because of the growth that is happening out here, there needs to be an expansion thought process too. Over time, that has fallen to the units of government to work on figuring out how you're going to expand your needs because there isn't the money at 7W or MnDOT. They agree that these things need to be done, but they don't have the money to help. But they're there if we can find the funds. So that's what we are busy working on. We had our Central Mississippi River Partnership meeting, which is the body that is working. We are working with Wright County, Sherburne County. We have the city of Monticello, Monticello Township, the city of Becker, Becker Township, the city of Big Lake, and Big Lake Township to come together to figure out where another river crossing can land in this area because it is much needed. The amount of traffic is getting to be out of control, and we need to figure out how to rectify that. And that would be with another crossing. So we're working on that. We also had our County Board of Appeal and Equalization meeting, which was already spoken to. Also did attend the Pillar 2 and the Pillar 4 6-month review process. Those items are moving along and making progress. And also, let me see, what else did I have here? That attended the NACO Central Board meeting and also attended the NACO CEWD committee meeting, which is economic and workforce development. And we're making progress there. We're getting a lot of updates. It's going to be interesting to see how all these things can work together. You got a lot of housing information coming out of the federal level. And all of us, what I always find interesting is when we're in these meetings, the amount of counties countrywide, all of our issues seem to be pretty much the same. And that really resonates when you're looking at trying to figure out how to work yourself through some of the stuff that comes down the pike. And I think that was pretty much it for me. Okay. Moving on then, at this time, I think we're going to take, we're going to adjourn we're going to take, can we take a break? Yes, let's take a 10-minute break. We're good? Okay, so let's take a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene back here at 11:29:30. We'll call it 11:30.
Only 10 minutes behind for a change.
Yeah, that's All right, at this time, I'm going to reconvene our meeting, and we are going to looking for a motion to open the ditch authority meeting and approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion by Commissioner Hulls and a second by Commissioner Schumacher, correct?
Yep.
Oh, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Moving on to consideration of the approval of petition to place a culvert / bridge in County Ditch 13 for a private crossing. And you're gonna handle this, Mike?
Yep.
Lorraine, are you having anything to do with it? Okay, Mike, you're on. Thank you.
Ditch 13 had a petition to come in for a private crossing for a resident, Jacob Watts and Catherine Watts. They just, that's Little Elk Lake. The major road on the left is County Road 55. This is in Clear Lake Township. The property outlined is what they recently purchased on 22 last fall. They built a house on 70th Street. So their land is divided by the ditch, and they'd like to have access to that north part of the property, which is a good chunk of the property. I see no reason why he cannot have a private crossing here so he can access his land. So it is my recommendation to approve the petition for the private crossing. I've stated that he must use a culvert equal size downstream, so he's installing a 36-inch culvert, and he will have sufficient side slopes and erosion control on that crossing. And he's understanding that. His plan is to put in a culvert this fall, so they can move forward. So I'm recommending approval of the private crossing for Jacob and Catherine Watts.
Any questions for Mike?
Just curiosity, the parcel to the north of them, that's still Two Inlets Park, isn't it?
Yes.
Do they have a fence there, or is there any way, do they access the park can they get on the park in any way?
You know, I don't know that.
You don't know either, Andrew?
It's possible there could be a fence there because I know there's been cattle over there.
Okay.
Past years. So if there's a fence still there, I'm not sure.
Well, I'm just thinking ATVs parked, getting on the trail, side by sides, whatever, from the backside, because the backside of that is not accessible or visual from anything. That's heavily wooded back in there.
Yeah.
So your concern is someone might get confused and think it's part of the.
Well, they only
Park?
cross that, they have to cross Dish 13, basically. So that's the only thing there. So now they're putting an access across Dish 13 to, that they could get access to the park with a vehicle, is all I'm saying, instead of just walking.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Commissioner Gray, we'll continue to monitor that even after the crossing is in, and if need be, we can put a fence up along the park property there to help eliminate that concern.
Yeah, that's just a thought process of mine.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yep.
Yes, Commissioner Schumacher.
And then to correct, Mike, you had said it was Little Elk Lake. This is
This is Elk Lake, I'm sorry.
Elk
Little Elk Lake is north of.
Okay.
in
Thank you.
Baldwin, yep.
Towards
Baldwin.
Zimmerman.
Thank you for that clarification.
I get confused.
One other question. So these parcels have been combined under one PID then?
Yeah, it is one PID.
Okay, because you had said that he had purchased the land to the, what would that be, south?
It's all one parcel.
It is, okay.
Yes.
It's all one parcel, yeah,
All
because
right.
they combined them a couple years back when they purchased that one from the Fries, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the petition to place a culvert / bridge in County Road, in County Ditch 13 for a private crossing.
So move.
Second. Or, sorry, you got it.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Gray and a second by Commissioner Hulls. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right. Moving on then to consider the approval of an engagement agreement for petition for partial abandonment and realignment of Sherburne County Ditch 1.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The county received a petition from private individuals requesting that partial abandonment and realignment. I've been in discussion with the Auditor Treasurer's Office, a county ditch inspector, and based on that, just had a discussion with Mr. Kolb over at Rinky Noonan. He is very humble, but it's fair to say that he is very well versed in this area of law. I believe the consensus was that there was a recommendation for the county serving as the ditch authority to engage with Rinky Noonan for purposes of representation on this issue. It's a relatively unique issue, but I do think that council in this area is versed on it, and I think they could assist us as we go forward.
All right. Are there any questions? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to consider or to approve the engagement agreement for petition for partial abandonment and realignment of Sherburne County Ditch 1. We have a motion by Commissioner Schumacher and a second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next item is consider the acceptance of the ditch drainage technician's report. Is this where the pictures come in?
Yeah.
Yay! Did you get to blow up stuff?
We did.
Ooh.
We did. We're all
excited
now.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
That's part of the meeting.
It is.
I'll buzz through these pictures real quick of ditch 30. As in my report, we replaced 1,720 feet of branch 4, which is this right in here. Was long overdue, as I've stated in my report. I'll keep moving along here to show some pictures. This is the area where we replaced the tile. The red box is the area where the failure was most imminent. As you can see, it's pretty dark. It's been periodically flooding because of the failed tile line. That's what it looked like in April. Pretty wet. Here's a sinkhole, tile failure. This is down on the south end when we get started. At the beginning, we had to fight water pretty much the whole way. That's why we used rock, so we can pump the water out in order to do the work, otherwise it's not even feasible. You can see in the front, there's concrete tile, and then it goes into plastic tile, and then concrete tile again. We ran across about a half a dozen of these patch repairs out there, and it was just to the point where you can't do that anymore. We just had to replace the whole thing. It's been long overdue. Should have been done 20 years ago when they were starting having these problems. The tile was installed in 1920, so it's old.
A little old, yes.
Wow.
Delivery. Had the tile delivered, ordered it. When you order a large quantity like that, they just ship it directly from the factory. ADS, Advanced Drainage Systems. I believe they're out of Wilmer. This is where we connected to County Road 11. Water's still coming out. We dig a sump hole to pump the water away. There's the pump. We've never been able to do the job without it. Here they're wrapping up, getting ready to install the plastic tile and joining it up against County Road 11. Just outside of the right-of-way of County Road 11, there's got to be 15 feet of cover under on that road over this pipe.
So she's deep.
Bands putting it together. That's a rubber piece of material. You band around it, and it's really, really sticky. So once it's on there, it's staying on there. Here's just some of the patches we ran through as we were going along. They patched it with plastic tile, which is good, but the grade was so up and down and all over the place. 0.2% fall in this pipe. So 0.2% is about 2.5 inches in 100 feet. So it's basically flat. So we use the laser the whole way to keep it on grade. Another pile, we ran into a patch repair. This is what it looked like after we're done. put all the topsoil back. We did separate the topsoil from the sand and clay, so it would put back on top. And that's that. Excuse me. A few videos to show. If you want to start with that 007 one, we'll just go right to that one. Quadruple 7. This is a dam we found when we were doing aerials. This is the ditch just west of County Road 45. As you can see, the water running around the dam. That's what causes the erosion. You can see the sand deposit on the downstream side. I figured as long as we were there, I'm gonna blow the dam, we figured we might as well film it.
You did let that house know, right?
Yeah, we did knock on the door, nobody was
Hey,
home.
we're gonna blow this up.
And you see my truck up there, we did an electronic discharge, so we blocked the road because we knew there would probably be a little overspray onto the road. It's coming.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely some
Yep.
overspray on the road.
drone footage of things.
Yes.
Look at the water run
Look at that.
afterwards.
Oh my gosh, it was just
Yeah.
surging.
Wow, yeah.
Wow.
Like they're watching an action movie.
Nice.
So that's that.
That's a lot of water.
You can see a lot of water running downstream. Right now, he's hitting it home, he's just bringing it back. His dome button, it comes right down. So, but we can move ahead, we can skip this part.
That was awesome.
That's why it's labeled 007, Madam Chairwoman.
Yes.
Here's another one, ditch 34. Another 2 beaver dams here. As you can see, there's a pile of brush there. That's where the beaver trapper had to pull the brush off the dam just to get his traps in there.
Okay.
Excuse me. This is after. Opened it up pretty good.
On average, Mike, how long does it take for the beavers usually to come back into the area and rebuild?
Seems like we're there almost every year.
Okay. So they're persistent.
Yeah.
You need to bring back beaver hats.
Now, I don't know. I just thought this was a really neat tool he had for his drill.
Oh, that is.
That's the guy that shipped it there. So he deals with straps all day long, so I thought it was really neat. $11 on Amazon if you're interested.
There you go. Very creative.
You can go to 69. This is the water boiling out of the ground. When you have a tidal failure, it goes to the weakest point, and once the water comes out, it just keeps coming. Here he's separating the topsoil from the rest of it.
74?
Yeah. That's the kind of soil you deal with when you're working in the water table. So it's just a water bed. That's why we use rock. You can dig all that out of there and use rock so you can bridge it to keep your grade and to have good support for the pipe.
Wow.
Madam Chairwoman?
Yes.
I had an irrational,
Schumacher.
I had an irrational fear as a child that I'd get sucked up into quicksand, and that's
That kind of brought that back.
real life that brings back
Right
that
there.
memory.
I warned her, I told her, if you keep jumping on that, you're gonna fall through, but she never did. But if I was on there, I would have fell through.
I'd have fallen too. I would have been sucked
Oh,
in.
goodness.
And that's all I have. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Any questions for Mike?
No.
Okay, if not, then I'd be looking for a motion to accept the ditch drainage technician's report as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hulls and a second by Commissioner Felber. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right, thank you. So at this time, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn our ditch authority meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Hulls and a second by Commissioner Felber. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. All right, now, I don't think we need another break. So let's reconvene our
Workshop.
workshop.
Thank you.
Yay. Whoops.